Hello guys, welcome to Solving Solutions on Bound channel where I get solutions to all your solving problems. It's nice having you in class again today. How have you been? On today's tutorial, we are going to use a mini project to show you how to get the data type for different fields in your attribute table. Now, let's start by trying to create a shapefile. So we create a new shapefile and then the file name. So let's call it schools. Good. Then the geometry type, we are going to pick them as point features. Now the first thing is that we are trying to create a new field, right? Good. So the first we are going to create is the name field. Now when we have written the name field, there is a space for the data type. That means the type of data that can be stored inside of that name field. So the type of data is usually what? A text, right? Good. So it contains alphanumeric characters, right? So depending on the length of the text you want to use, you can decide to make it longer than 80 or shorter than 80 as the case may be. So by default, let's leave it at 80. And then you see that there is no precision because it's actually what? A text. So we add that to field. The next field we are going to consider is the number of students. Now, if you observe clearly, you are going to see that in the field name, we are careful not to use space, right? Good. So ensure that you also try to follow through that way. Then the data type for the number of students will be what? Integer, because they are actually whole numbers, right? Good. So we can't have 10.5 students. We can only have 10, 9, 8, 200, 1 million as the case may be, right? Good. So they are usually what? Whole numbers. That's integers. And then the length, you can increase it depending on the number of digits that you have in your number, right? Good. So let's leave it at 10 and then we add to field list, right? The next field we want to declare is the year of establishment. Now the data type for that will be date, right? Good, because it shows you year, right? Good. So we are still leaving it as 10 and then we add that to field. Now, if you use this drop down, we are going to see that we have used about 3 of the data types that are here. Let's now try one that has to do with decimal. So let's create a new field to know the distance from the school to the main road. Good. So the type we are going to use is decimal. That's double, right? Good. Now this helps you to write numbers that are in decimal form, right? The first we used was integer, which is just whole numbers. Now this helps you to write 10.2, 10.22, 10.222 depending on the precision that you have what specified. So let's take it to 3 decimal places. So it shows that whatever measurement we are going to impute or whatever length we are going to impute here will be to 3 decimal places, right? Good. Unlike the integer that does not have what? A precision. And then the length shows the number of digits that perhaps you have before the decimal, right? Then we click on add to field list. Now if you look at it, we have exhausted all the 4 data types that are here. However, there are more. So what will happen is that we are going to just create this shapefile and then we open the attribute table of this our layer, and then when we do that, we start toggle editing. Now when we start toggle editing, there's a tab here for us to add a new field, right? Good. So when you click on that, you have that window from the beginning. When you are trying to create the shapefile, you now have a similar window that enables you to add more fields per adventure if you need more in your attribute table. So the next we are going to look at is we want to know if the school is actually what? A public school or a private school. So we go with is public. Good. Now we have used another format which is called the camel casing, right? Good. Now for that field, the data type will be what? Boolean, because that's actually a yes or no data type, right? Good. So we click on the Boolean and then you now see the provider type is there, and then we click on OK. Now there are different data types, but we are going to limit ourselves to just these maybe 4 or 5 that we have, or 6 rather that we have. So you can actually go through different other data types. Now before we leave, let's try to dock this and then let's populate some schools, arbitrary or let's say imaginary schools. Now this is my alma mater, the Federal School of Surveying. So if I click on add point feature and then I click maybe any of the classroom, I can decide to call that a school. So I call that 1 and then the name, let's say that's FSS, and then the number of students, let's say, okay, whatever number we have, then the year of establishment, you use the drop down to see the calendar. You can select the year, let's go with 1908, and then for the month we go with January, and then let's say 1st of January 1908, right? Good. And then the distance to the main road, we are forgetting to include the units. You can decide to also include the units in the header so that we know the unit with which we are trying to capture the distance to the road, right? Good. So let's use in kilometers. So if we say 25, we mean that's 25 kilometers. Now we have an option here, is it public or not? So if we check it, it shows that it's public, and if we uncheck it, it shows that it's not what public. Now there is something you would see. Let's click on OK. Under the Boolean, you now see that it's true, right? Because Boolean actually is true or false, 0 or 1, right? Good. Now let's just create one more. We call that 2, and then we call this River State University, and then the number of students, we just give it any number that's there. Then the year of establishment, we just come here and then maybe we say 1980, and then we still try to make that January 1st, right? Good. And then the distance to road, let's say 36 kilometers, and then we are going to leave this unchecked. That means we are saying it is not public. So we click on OK, and now you see that it is false, right? Good. So that's how Boolean works. So you now see for the ID we have 1, 2, 3, the name we have text, then the number of students, you have the integer, the year of establishment, you can see the date, the distance to road, you can see it, and then if it's public or not, you can see the true or false answer, right? Good. Now for the name, since we say it's alphanumeric, let's see something now. So let's give this number 3, and then let's call this unical. You now see it's allowed numbers, right? Good. And then for the number of students, I'm trying to use the letters of the alphabet. It's not working currently, but if I use any number, you see now that it's coming up. Similarly, for the year of establishment, you just use the drop down and then select any date of your choice. And then the distance to road, I'm also trying to use the letters of the alphabet. It's not working, but if I use any number, it comes up, right? Good. So that's actually 2 outrageous. Then we have if it's public or not, so we just say yeah, it's public, and then we click on OK. So basically we have created this mini project to walk you through how to understand the different data types that you can assign to your field when you are creating your attribute table or when you're creating your database. So this can help you understand dates are in date, maybe what integer is, what text is, what Boolean is, what decimal, maybe double is, right? Good. So you can also check through to see more different data types. Maybe if you want to hyperlink the different schools to display them, or maybe if you want to use some unique IDs to identify each of the schools, you can actually create that in your attribute table, assign the corresponding data type, and then populate it as you proceed, right? Good. So we believe we have provided solution to this particular survey or GIS related problem. If you have any question, comment, contribution, you can leave it on the comment section, and we are going to get back to you as soon as possible. So until we see you on the next tutorial, ensure you keep staying safe and have a fantastic time. Bye.